absolute heaven. I was so excited and I could not believe that this had worked and I was cured. That's what creates serotonin, and that's what calms us down and gets us ready for sleep. But when we eat a high protein, I'm Lindsay, and today I'm going to talk to you about something that is really important to me, which is sleep. And as someone who previously suffered from insomnia, I know just how important sleep is to a lot of people out there and just how difficult it is to get the sleep that we need every night. So today I'm going to share how I was able to cure my insomnia with diet, and I'm going to first talk about how that all came about, and then I'll talk about the science behind why it actually worked. So to back up a little bit, my insomnia started after I had my daughter. At that time in my life, I was used to following a high protein, low carb diet in order to be healthy and control my weight. So naturally, after having my daughter and carrying that extra baby weight around, I thought, okay, first thing I gotta do, get myself on that high protein, low carb diet, lose this baby weight, and then I'll be feeling and looking better. And of course that meant lots of protein, not a lot of carbohydrates, so an Atkins style diet or a paleo diet, whatever you wanna call it. Lots of meat, lots of eggs, lots of vegetables, almost no grains, no fruits, and I was being very, very strict with it at the time because I really wanted to get my pre-baby body back. And so what ended up happening was after my daughter started sleeping through the night, I found that I couldn't. I wasn't being woken up by my daughter to go and feed her or change her or anything, but I still couldn't sleep through the night. So it was really funny. I had this tiny little baby who was sleeping 8, 10, 12 hours a night, and mom over here who was barely getting 4 hours. I wasn't able to fall asleep very well. It would take me hours. I would wake up multiple times a night. And so I was getting like 4 hours of sleep per night in broken little segments. So I was pretty miserable by that point. I went to my doctor and she prescribed me some medications to try and help me sleep. First we first tried one, I can't remember the name of it, didn't work at all. Then she gave me Zopiclone. That one made me feel basically like a zombie when I would still wake up at night, and then I would feel like I had a hangover the next morning. So I didn't like either one of the prescriptions that she prescribed to me. My mom takes medication for restless leg syndrome, so she said, here, try these, and they actually worked really, really well. But then when I went to my doctor and said, can I get a prescription for those, she said no. So what ended up happening for the first year after my daughter was born is my mom would be giving me these restless leg syndrome pills kind of on the side, and I'd be taking them here and there just to try to give myself a full night's sleep once in a while. But nothing else worked. I did intense exercise thinking if I can just make myself even more exhausted, maybe I'll be able to sleep tonight. Never worked. So by around the time that my daughter was about a year old, I was just feeling really desperate, feeling like every morning when I woke up, I just couldn't wait to go back to bed the next night, even though I knew that I wasn't gonna be able to sleep. So it was this vicious cycle, and I was starting to feel like, how am I gonna live like this the rest of my life? Like, I am so tired. So what ended up happening, and it was completely unrelated to my insomnia, but I decided to switch to a plant-based diet in the fall of that year. And so of course, going from a high protein, low carb diet, I then went to a high carbohydrate, relatively lower protein and lower fat diet than what I was eating before. And a miraculous thing happened. Within a week, I was having these amazing full night restful sleeps. I was falling asleep easier, and I was waking up feeling refreshed in the morning, and it was absolute heaven. I was so excited and I could not believe that this had worked and I was cured. Now, a couple months went by and Christmas time came, and of course you have all of the food and the alcohol leading up to Christmas. So I put on probably like 5 pounds that December, and so right after Christmas on Boxing Day I thought, okay, that's it. I'm going on one of those, high protein, low carb diets, because that's the easiest way to get the weight off, and it's just gonna work like that. And the funny thing that happened was within 2 days of starting that high protein, low carb diet, my insomnia was back. And that was absolutely terrifying. And so that's when I learned, okay, no, low carb diets are not for me. I cannot sleep on them. So it's been great to have that realization, but it was a while before I really understood why that had worked. So I printed out something that explains the science behind why a higher carbohydrate, lower protein diet helps to induce sleep. Okay, so I'm just gonna read a little bit here. So 30 years ago, Richard Wortman at MIT carried out studies showing that tryptophan, which is the building block of serotonin, and these are both chemicals that we need in our brain. So tryptophan could get into the brain only after sweet or starchy carbohydrates were eaten. Okay? So although tryptophan is an amino acid and found in all protein, which we think, okay, it's in turkey, right? That's the sleepy protein in turkey that you eat a big meal and you fall asleep right after. So although tryptophan's in all protein, eating protein prevents tryptophan from passing through a barrier from the blood into the brain. And the reason that this happens is because tryptophan competes for entry points into the brain with some of the other amino acids that are circulating in your blood. And there's more of those other amino acids in the blood than tryptophan after protein is eaten. Okay, so we know we need tryptophan for sleep. That's what creates serotonin, and that's what calms us down and gets us ready for sleep. But when we eat a high protein diet, there's so much of the other amino acids floating around in our blood that the tryptophan isn't able to get into those entry points to pass from the blood into the brain. So we're not able to get the tryptophan into our brain, start making that serotonin, which is going to allow us to calm down and relax and feel sleep. So that's, a huge thing that I think probably a lot of people don't know about. So as blood passes by the barrier into the brain, tryptophan can get in. The tryptophan is immediately converted into serotonin. This only happens if you're going to eat a sweet, starchy carbohydrate meal. Now it doesn't have to be sweet, but sweet or starchy, some type of carbohydrate meal. That's how the tryptophan is allowed to get into the brain, okay? So that's why eating a high carbohydrate diet is going to allow those chemicals to get into your brain, create the serotonin, and allow you to get some good rest, okay? And so serotonin has a soothing effect on mood, and on a side note, it also reduces your appetite and helps you feel full. But if we look at sleep, if you talk to bodybuilders who are trying to cut weight and they're following a high protein, low carb diet, they often, even though they're working out working out like 2 hours a day at the gym, they still are having a hard time getting that full night's sleep. They're exhausted, but they're still body is naturally waking up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning because they're not getting enough of those chemicals into the brain. So if you're suffering from insomnia, this is a really easy thing to try. There is, no side effects. It's not going to cost you any money to give it a try. So why not try changing your diet, having some higher carbohydrate meals, especially before bedtime. Oatmeal's a great one, something with rice, something with bread. Just don't pair it with any of your proteins. So don't be pairing it with, any type of eggs or tuna on your toast or anything like that. Make sure you're having just a strictly carbohydrate meal, especially before bedtime, and see if that helps to alleviate your issues with sleep. Okay, great. Thanks for watching my video today. Hopefully this information is going to help you or someone you love. Please subscribe to my channel and please share this with anybody that you think would like to hear about it. Okay, great. Thanks and have a good rest of your day.